other people eating chickens. And so many people use it that way. Haha, I've disproven your generalization, vegans, with oysters, and then they're going to KFC.
Yeah, I mean, my Facebook is full of some of the smartest people on Facebook, and they get so their whole logic goes out the window when it comes to this stuff. And we sit here and we read this stuff where it's like, oh my God, how is this person saying this right now?
Yeah, some of the most intelligent people in the world just crumble as soon as animal rights comes up, like every time.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Oh, we have a new person. Hello,
what's up, Hardhat?
Oh my goodness!
What's up? Look at that guy. Hardhat's on the fence. Hardhat really needs to go vegan, but he's not there yet, and so he's very interested in hearing our banter because he's very close to being vegan.
I am actually, and you might hear a puppy dog barking in the background. I got a new fucking creator's gift, and I'm just ecstatic over the world. But anyway, yeah, I am still on the fence. A lot of it has to, and I've heard actually earlier in the stream, I was kind of jumping around, but basically that I'm not going to be deficient, right? And because I've seen these videos of these people that are, you know, like I need to work hard. I'm fucking yes, Carl. But anyway, just that you can live healthy, right? Not eating meat. I don't eat a lot now. The stuff that I do, when I do, it is where I buy it from. It's I know you guys won't understand this, but basically these cows are living a life over top of fucked up mountains and forests for their lives. But yeah, then they get slaughtered right at the end. But they're not from the kill lots or whatever. But that, oh, Carl, look at this guy. But yeah, it doesn't make it right, but I am on the fence, right? And it's part of my little journey, you know, with all this bullshit and lies that are out there. But I've always connected with animals my whole life, right? I like animals more than humans. It's always been like that. I've been blessed when I have an animal with me because I seem to always be a better person, right? I'm guided, things work out. You know, even when I do my concrete work, there'll be a fucking ant or a spider going over where I'm fucking troweling and I need a trowel, and I'll pick them up on my trowel. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, buddy. I got to do this shit. And I'll spin them off, right? So I literally do my best in everything not to, you know what I mean? Because I even said once, like, this little fucking guy, he's going to be living tomorrow morning, you know, doing whatever the fuck he does, living his life, right? When I could have just squashed him and mucked him over in the fucking mud. You know what I mean? And anyway, I need to put more fucking actually do something about it and do it. But anyway, I'm here to learn. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you should just dive in. The way to think about it with the food is don't think about it as you need meat or you need nutrients. You need to source them from a different place. Your body doesn't need meat. It just needs protein. It needs iron. It needs all this. And you can just get all that from plants. So if you need X amount of protein for your, like you're saying, because you do a lot of hard work, then you just get your protein from somewhere else and make sure you get the same amount. Just eat lots of tofu and seitan and things that are going to be high in protein, lots of nuts, legumes, all that kind of stuff. And as far as anything else, I mean, the way you're talking about animals, you've already got the right mindset. You know, you care about the ants, you care about the little bugs and stuff. And it's just extending that just to these other animals and just knowing that they value their lives just as equally. And you would never, if you were there with them, you would never want to harm them.
Well, I do have a question quick, is that I'm justifying in getting into this that eggs and fish are good. And I know I can get lots of good protein from eggs and fish and stick to the rest. But then I know, Jeff, you kind of, I forget what you said about it. I remember I asked you once, but what do you guys think? Paleo something, but what do you think of that? Getting eggs and fish, or is that no?
Well, you got to think about, so for example, you know, with fish, I mean, they're another living being. Like, why would we kill them if we didn't need to? And you can get omega-3s from from other places, like flax seeds and stuff like that. Obviously, you can supplement if you need to. As far as eggs, all the chickens are being slaughtered once they don't once they don't produce enough eggs. The male chicks in the egg industry are getting dropped into a blender at 1 day old or gassed alive. Like they're going through like these horrific things to provide the egg, and there's nothing within an egg, nothing within a fish that you can't source from somewhere else. So that there's no real need to do it. And if you are someone who wants to, not harm animals, which seems like that's the kind of guy you are, then there's literally no reason to do it. Like I haven't eaten any meat since 2002. I've been completely vegan for 9 years. My bloods are always absolutely fine. I've never had any issues. I very, very rarely get ill. And that's the same, not just for me. I know that's just an anecdote. But I mean, like you look at the biggest health organizations on the planet, such as the NHS, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they're all saying that a vegan diet is completely nutritionally adequate for all stages, whether you're a baby to an adult, or whether you're someone into an athlete. It's all there. Like I said, it's not about what you're eating. It's just you need nutrients. It's just where you source those nutrients.
So I got a sorry, I'm going to jump in, then I'm going to listen. I got a question just because of my dog now. My last dogs, I'm feeding them raw food right now, right? So what do you do with dogs then, right? So right now I'm buying organic beef with carrots and yams and shit mixed in for my dog, but how is that good for my dog if I'm killing shit? And what can dogs eat? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the dogs are naturally omnivores, and they can actually thrive on a plant-based diet. In fact, one of the world's oldest dog, it was a border collie. I can't remember what his name was now, but it was one of the oldest dogs ever. I think they were 28 or something. It's in the Guinness World Records, and they were completely on a plant-based diet. And there's a lot of new studies that have come out very recently. Actually, there's one by a guy called Andrew Knight talking about the positive effects of cat and dog vegan food, actually, and they found that vegan cats and dogs can be extremely healthy, and in some areas can actually be beneficial for them, because you're feeding your dog kind of more raw food, but especially the commercial foods, a lot of that's full of junk. It's literally the waste products of what we're feeding humans. So in that respect, it can be even worse. But you can totally feed your dog vegan. There are tons of people I know with vegan dogs that are thriving, not having any problems. Cats have a bit more of an issue because of the taurine. That it can crystallize their urine, and that can be quite dangerous to them. But again, it's not meat you need to give that anyone needs. It's nutrients, and it's where you source those nutrients. So as long as they're getting the right nutrients, whether it's in a vegan formula or a meat formula, that they're going to be getting what they need. Hope that answers your question.
There was just a study where they were looking at they did like a real blind study, and they were finding that a lot of the ailments that the dogs have on the meat diet, they weren't having on the vegan diet, like a lot of the normal ailments like renal gland failure and stuff like that. It was just one study, but it looks pretty good. I know, like Chris said, it's not the same for cats. There still need to be some stuff, but a lot of the deficient vegan talk is because a lot of people will go vegan as some sort of drastic measure, and they'll be basically starving themselves. They'll go vegan and basically get a eating disorder. And you do hear a lot of people failing at vegan because of that, but you just need to eat enough. And since you have a purpose, you need to work, you need to stay strong. You have more motivation to eat correctly as a vegan than one of these fad dieters that's just trying to lose some weight, and like, you'll be surprised once you get plant-based, how strong you get and how more you'll be able to endure. And then, all this weight, some weight will fall off of you that you don't need. And you'll, leaning out, humans are supposed to be pretty lean for the most part, leaning out a little bit is always pretty good. And, so you just need to eat more. You might need to eat a little bit more than you would normally, but you'll eat, you'll figure out where you'll get your protein, and these proteins are really clean. And, you know, like I was saying, you know, since you are so interested and you are so concerned with switching, you'll be better at being a vegan than probably any of, you know, the next 9 people that are just doing it just to do it.
Yeah, you should watch The Game Changers on Netflix.
And then you'll get really proud about it too. You'll be like, fuck yeah, you'll be like one of us, you know, coming up here and talking about it.
The documentary Game Changers is about vegan athletes, and it's got everyone from kind of, you know, bodybuilders, weightlifters to endurance athletes, and it goes over all those kind of benefits. And you know, that kind of would probably benefit you to kind of watch that. And just to put it out there as well, obviously we've only just met, but if you ever need to ask any questions or anything, I'm more than happy for you to contact me. I know a lot of people as well. I do university talks on animal rights and veganism and stuff, and it's basically my biggest passion. So I'm more than happy to help you in any way. And if I don't know the answer to something, I can point you to someone who does.
Well, I was wondering, actually, Jeff, you mentioned in the last stream about where to contact me. If you could put in the back chat your email, because the only email I have kind of identifies me. So if you could put in the back chat your email, I'll email you. But if you could include this gentleman's link or his YouTube or whatever, then I can copy it. Thank you.
Yeah. I also, there's another buddy of mine I want you to talk to. Also, I just messed up my email. I put it up. I'm gonna correct it. I just messed it up. But oh dude, he's got a Victron behind him. I need that.
What is that?
It's a solar inverter.
Oh, sick.
Don't all talk at once.
I'm just thinking maybe as it's Veganuary, maybe you should just sign up for Veganuary. You'll get full. Yeah. Everyone will talk him through it.
Yeah.
Like literally, like you know, Veganuary isn't just a UK thing. Like it's
okay. He's back. Yeah. Hey man, I just wanted to mention in the transitioning phase that I think it's a really good idea to get used to Googling or searching on YouTube for vegan versions of the meals that you're familiar with, rather than trying to eat entirely different dishes. And just in terms of telling your subconscious mind that this is a normal thing. Like it isn't you know, completely weird overhaul of your life, you know.
Well, I don't think it's a weird overhaul, definitely. And this has been, I mean, I haven't been open to a lot of stuff until the tyranny when I started learning, even though I've never been part of the system and I didn't know why. And then I learned. So yeah, there's a lot. I'm not thinking it's weird or nothing. Curious, everyone up here, Jeff, Ali, and everyone else, no eggs or fish for all of you? I'm just curious.
No.
Okay, cool.
No animal products
all right.
At all. No animal byproducts, no direct.
Cool. Okay. Just wondering.
So no dairy is included in that as well. So no cheese, no milk.
Yeah,
that was my last animal product holdout.
That was yeah. Eggs were are usually
I went from daily meat eater to
people will go pescatarian and eat eggs.
Daily meat eater
to fish. Okay,
vegan at home overnight, and it wasn't the only transitional period I had. Wasn't about any particular product, but it was about restaurants in Korea where I would have the meat removed or whatever, but there would still be fish broth or bone broth or whatever, like small amounts of animal products couldn't easily be removed in restaurants. But other than that, my kitchen and my ordinary everyday diet, I went cold turkey from seriously being a heavy meat eater to no animal products at home, which was, like 90% of my meals or more. And I didn't die. I don't remember how long I had some symptoms of finally getting an adequate amount of fiber in my diet, a little bit of bloating and whatever. It wasn't very long, but and then the other thing, man, is that it becomes a lot easier than you expect, just sort of physiologically for a lot of us. The first time that I realized that my senses were changing, it was probably like 7 or 8 months after I went vegan, and I'm in a bar, and I just smell this horrific like vomit, like decaying corpse kind of stench. And I just turn around surprised, and there's like a fajita platter coming behind me. It's not a struggle, not only because of the footage that I've seen in the ethical side, but my body just perceives so many animal products as crazy, foreign, disgusting, non-food, foreign. And then in the supermarket, you start to see the glowing pink, meat section. It looks like a fucking medical examiner's lab that somehow got put next to the food. It's like, here's the food over here, and then here's like some dystopian science fiction movie set.
It is weird how that changes, isn't it? You literally call it the death aisle now. You don't even perceive
it's like 6 weeks in. I remember I was in Whole Foods, and I walked by the meat section, and I literally almost threw up, and I was like, whoa, like it's just one day it just happens, and then it's not as hard anymore, because whenever you smell it, you're just like, that doesn't smell good.
Yeah, it's strange.
I got a couple questions again. They're popping in my head. Two of them. Spiritually, like I'm not into the Abrahamic religions, and I don't want to get into that because whatever. But I believe in a creator, 1,000%, and that's what I've kind of come around to after being an agnostic for a long time. But it has nothing to do with God. I like to say creator. Hi, Carl. But what was my point to that? Thinking of the creator. Oh fuck! Hey, buddy. I did have the question.
We were talking about God stuff earlier, or at least like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this helps answer your question, but one thing that's worth thinking about with veganism is it's nothing to do with spirituality. It's nothing to do with anything. It's more of a social justice issue. It's more of a abstaining from animal exploitation in your life. In the same way that we're not racist, that we're not homophobic.
Okay, actually, it came to me. I apologize. My question was: so I have this belief in a creator, right? Not the Abrahamic religions. What did, when you changed to not eating animal meat? How did your spiritual growth change, or what happened when you fucking made that change? That, you know what I'm saying? And then the other question, we'll leave the other question, but that was the one. Like, when you made that change, did you feel a surge in, like, this is what I need to do with your connection with the creator when you cut out the animal meats?
I mean, I'm agnostic, so I don't know whether I'm the best person to answer this. I guess I'm trying to think. In more of a personal sense, it was more kind of, it felt like your blinders had been taken off. Like you've been lied to your whole life, and suddenly you can see clarity and you can see clearer, and it feels like a more natural way of being. So I guess you could look at that in a spiritual way. Like, it seemed more like, this is how we should be acting. This is where our morals should be, not what we were doing previously. It feels right, I guess. I mean, I don't know if anyone else can expand on that.
I think that my creator is Mother Earth. I know we're out in we're out seeing animals all the time, and I feel closer to them because I don't eat them. And if you're as much of an animal lover as you say you are, you're so close, dude. You're so close. you're like prime candidate for going vegan for so many different reasons. But yeah, I mean, we see crows and we talk to the animals out there, and like, like they know, like we always talk to them like they know our animals, like, because we actually think they do, because we're all on different levels connected and shit like that. But like, definitely you feel better about your imprint on Mother Earth when you don't have 16 animals deaths on your plate every week. Like that shit piles up. I know back in the like Hindu religions and stuff, they have some crazy writings about people who eat animals.
Yeah, ahimsa.
Hey, Jeffrey and Braxton, you guys remember on the previous therapy stream when I was talking about how important I think it is to think about gods and angels and beings that are much more advanced than we are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if Hardhat is still listening. I guess he is. But yeah, even I was saying on this stream before, even though I don't believe that gods actually exist, I think it's incredibly useful to be able to have a perspective where you imagine beings, and it can also be in fantasy or science fiction kind of context that help you do this, but imagine beings that are not only much more powerful than we are, but much older, much wiser, much more moral. And because it's a very dangerous illusion that we Homo sapiens around today in our current cultures represent some kind of pinnacle of sentience, of intelligence, wisdom, moral goodness. Like even very pro-justice vegans will often casually refer to humans as fully sentient or fully intelligent. There's nothing fully about us. we are like barely scratching the surface of the logically and physically possible moral goodness, wisdom.
Yeah, you hear some people and you think
we are just this much above the chimpanzee.
Yeah,
in our
people who
capacity.
deny that we're animals will say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're not perfection, and so having some kind of ability to tap into religious-like thinking, even if you don't believe that the religion is literally true, it's a really good skill to have.
Yeah.
To really have that deep humility.
Yeah, I mean, it's even in terms of like if you look at like the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or NA, those types of movements, they'll even say that you have to like consider that there's some kind of a higher power that you're giving, that you're getting your power from, that keeps you moving and everything, keeps you like, I guess you have that accountability to an extent. And like even if you're agnostic or atheist or anything like that, you have to kind of struggle with that. But it's like, yeah, when you hear some people who just they don't care about like anything, it's like, well, there's sort of a karmic consequence of that where you can see it in their lives, even if it doesn't automatically manifest. Like you do something bad and then something automatically hits you. It's like there's still going to be little weird patterns that kind of pick up that like we maybe can't even perceive it all the time, but something's going on. And so it's interesting to think that like, yeah, there's consequences to a lot of this stuff, that maybe there is some kind of a higher power. I consider that, even if it's not like a specific God, there's still something that we should at least be doing the right thing for ourselves.
I definitely believe in a higher power, but I spent a bunch of years in AA. I stopped drinking 16 years ago, I guess now. Do you ever wonder why the logo for AA is a triangle in a circle? And when I was there, the one thing that actually, it's full of good people, good loving people that fucking helped me when I was at my bottom. But there was so much predatory behavior that happened in the rooms. And no one, it's keep your side of the street clean was their saying, right? It's like, fuck you. I'm going to keep my side street clean, and I'm going to make sure my neighbor's clean too. Right. And so I saw a lot of really nasty shit happening in the rooms. And that's why I left after about 7 years sober, and then now I learned about shit and see the symbolism, and then you look anyway. I don't know what my point was, but yeah. Oh, I did have a question too. The other one that I forgot was there's times when I've gone without meat, right? And I feel I take testosterone every week. I have to. My pituitary gland is fucked up. I fucked it up by doing a bunch of drugs in my 20s, and I don't produce testosterone. So I basically are like a fucking 80-year-old man if I don't take it. So I take it all the time. I have been for 20 years. I'm not a juice junkie. It's just I have, you can't live in depression and fucking sleepiness, whatever. But my point is, there's times that I feel, and I'll get a steak and I feel like I feel better every couple of weeks. Is that just because I'm not picking the right fucking nutrients? Why I'm getting that obsession or whatever?
Pretty much. The thing about something like a steak is it's very nutrient dense. So when you're eating something like that, you're getting a lot of those nutrients in one small portion. But if you ate this same equivalent amount of food with with beans and tofu and stuff like that, your body would be getting exactly the same. There's no magical thing in meat that you can't get elsewhere. Or it could just be, just to put out there, it could also be just some sort of placebo effect as well. Just kind of like having such a dense meal is just giving you a bit of a rush all at once. I don't know, Jeffrey.
One thing a lot of people don't take into consideration is that meat, when it was last alive, that animal was being killed, and so its adrenal system was kicking off, and there were all kinds of death, torturous, like horrific hormones being released into the meat, and so if you eat it, you might be getting a kind of a little buzz from that. And when you eat meat, you're telling your brain that you're in fight or flight, because we're our bodies can eat meat as like a survival thing, like it's not our ideal. Obviously, heart disease, all this shit comes from eating meat and dairy, so it's obviously not our ideal diet. And so
okay, how about this though? Going into conspiracy theory with what you said about the meat and getting a rush off it. So, do you think there's truth into this adrenochrome shit or whatever the word is? That probably. People are, if you get it from babies that are getting tear, that they get a bigger rush out of what they pushed on all us eating meat, getting the rush from. Like it's a different ruch, but the same.
Dude, it's not the same. Man.
Guys, yeah, what I mean? I have no clue what you're talking about.
Come on.
Adrenochrome. The elites are weird. People with
I can sort of figure it out etymologically.
Out weird drugs.
Yeah, it's the Illuminati, kind of farming it out of babies, apparently, aren't they? Because it's like a drug.
But yeah, 9 out of 10 times you have someone who's vegan or vegetarian.
This is like the Pizzagate stuff. Hillary, whatever. Are getting high off of babies' terror.
9 out of 10 times you got someone who goes back to eating meat from not eating meat. They're like, oh, I feel so much better, and it's like, yeah, that might not be like a good. You're feeling something.
Drugs feel good.
Drugs feel good. Heroin feels good. Speed feels good.
Well, you got to withdraw, or you got to detox for a little bit, but now you're getting back into that mental space again. It's kind of like a relapse.
Hormones in the meat too. I mean, it's a mammal. It's another mammal you're ingesting or whatever other animal, but that's uptaken by our bodies, regardless if it's from stress or fear. Just normal functioning hormones. You're eating from an animal that produces those same things in you versus eating like phytoestrogens. They've shown it has completely different effects in our body, but it's not uptaken directly as estrogen. Hence the myth of men eating soy and getting titties, not necessarily True.
I've always found that hilarious because soy would be like every single woman on the planet would be just piling
Eating soy like crazy. Titties.
Low cost implants. Come on, man. No,
Yeah.
but
And
it's
okay,
actually
not,
protected against breast cancer. But
The
Yeah.
porn industry would be the biggest consumer of soy.
yeah, not to be too controversial here, but wouldn't like trans people who are trying to do the replacement therapy, wouldn't they be all over that?
Yeah. And the other thing is the Japanese and Korean women sure are famous for
Yeah, they put a large
right?
boobs. Yeah.
the main soy consuming cultures on Earth.
Flat ladies.
So the
Does
ones
not
who had
compete with
tofu as a staple of their diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did always find that just ridiculous. I don't know where that came from.
The Durian Rider always makes funny points like that about Asia. Like, it's like, rice makes you fat? What? Carbs make you fat? Like,
millions of Asians.
Not a good example there.
I wanted to say to Hardhat here again, that talking about that feeling of eating steak, don't shy away from the comfort food, phenomenon. I mean, it's not a good idea to eat comfort food type stuff all the time, but just, eat a bowl full of Beyond Steak or something. Or just like
or a bunch of potatoes,
simple,
or just cook more
vegan comfort foods. There are vegan comfort foods.
Well, what do you think about this? I mean, one of the questions I guess that's popping up in my head is all these the soy products, right? And they're basically saying that because there are high estrogens in all these products, it's part of making men not men anymore, right? These beta males by pumping them. Is that true?
No, we just covered that 2 seconds ago. I think you missed it.
You guys hear the guy with Earthling Ed?
I've got a little puppy right now that's a baby, and that's why I'm blocking off because he needs attention. I'm sorry.
The short version of it is it's bullshit. You don't have to worry about it.
Have you guys seen the interview Earthling Ed had with
meat
this,
is full of estrogen.
Which one was that?
To eat meat so that we didn't get taken over by China or whatever. That was one of Earthling Ed's infamous conversations. Is the guy making the argument that that eating animals makes us aggressive, increases our aggression, and we Americans need that aggression to be able to resist the Chinese invasion or whatever.
Yeah. By the way,
there's way more bioavailable estrogen in meat than there is in soy. Like, it's off the charts in meat because that animal already has that estrogen in its body, and then you're eating it, and so you're adding to you know what, you're actually right. A little background, I was with a girl for 5 years, and her dad was a horse race trainer. And so I used to get veterinarian steroids from him to sell and to use. And basically, some of this stuff was testosterone that had estrogen in it, right? And so you can't sell that stuff or whatever, but that's what they had, was this testosterone with, a small amount, but still estrogen that they're pumping, obviously, because it's for the animals, not humans, obviously, right? But I think everyone has a balance of the two in their body, and if you want to add muscle, you add more testosterone to your body, and if you want to, I believe so.
Well, no, it is, and I've actually heard, and this is why people, a lot of people are like, "What the hell, testosterone? You juice monkey, this and that." There's a lot of women that are suffering from massive menopause problems, and what it is they just need this minuscule amount of testosterone because of this imbalance of progesterone and whatever else they're using. And they actually do this shit in their 40s when they're going through it, and they're living healthy, right? Because they need, women have testosterone, right? But just minute, not like us men. But again, how much are the products we're taking in that are harming our endocrine systems? Right? As we get older, now we're fucked. Menopause is worse. Low testosterone in men, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And like eating all these hormones in the meat, it's doing exactly what happened to you. You did too much gear back in the day. You did too much back in the day. Now you can't produce it anymore. So when you're eating this meat and you're introducing all these new hormones to your body that aren't naturally there, it's doing the same thing. You know, you're screwing with your hormone system, and that can take, you know, it's very, everything in our bodies works off of that, you know.
100%, Jeff. I don't live a victim, right? And I'm definitely, I fucked myself up, right? But I mean, a lot of people did different type of drugs. And this, I mean, you know, I had my little forays into E and this and that. But I mean,
You
I
were
fucked myself.
You were mostly lifting though. You were.
Well, no, the thing is I was lifting, I was competing in bodybuilding, but I was also in the club scene too, right? So there's lots of GHB, lots of E, right?
Okay.
But my thing is I was always eating. So you see all these guys that partied and they whittle down to nothing and they get fucked.
Yeah.
Well, I've always kept my health. I kept exercising on top of it. So I was still harming myself indoctrinally or whatever inside, right? That's why I'm fucked now. Like if I don't, I'm fucked. Like without any extra tests. And I've tried. I went 8 months. I went through the medical system. The girl I was with for 10 years, and we still love each other. We share a dog. She's like my little mama to my dog now. You know, it's still good. We're just happier apart, right? Like it's healthier.
Yeah.
But he said, hey, I want you to go legit. So I went through 8 months of not taking anything, going through an endocrinologist through our China health system. And she was fucking me. Like I was dying. And Tamara and my ex was like, get back on the shit. You're fucked. Right. Well, they don't want to put men on it. Right. If it's a natural thing, okay. But if you say, yeah, listen, because of my past life and I was a motherfucker and I made bad decisions and now I've fucked up my brain and I'm not whatever, they don't want to help you in Canada much. Right.
Yeah.
And whatever, I don't care. It's no big deal. It's
man.
I live good
now.
now.
I said it earlier, but you are such a prime candidate to be a successful vegan and to impact your health in a positive way, dude. You're like, because there's so many people that it's just like, oh, this person would never be able to do it. Like you, it just sounds like you have all the, you have all your stuff there. And because you are so concerned, you will, you'll be careful about it and you'll probably do it the right way. Which it's taken me, I mean, I've been a vegan a total of like maybe 15 something years of my life, and it's taken me this long, and to get 45 and to, like date someone who really knows how to cook too, to really like know how to do it right, because I never really had a reason to, you have a reason to, you have motivation, you have to stay alive and you have to stay strong for work. So like, it sounds like, you should start trying it out. Remember, back in the day, I was like, try it on the weekends, just start doing weekends, and then add one more day if it starts getting easier, and it's like, you aren't completely fully committed yet, but you at least get your foot in the door, and then you'll just notice you'll go 3 days, 4 days, and you'll be all, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to try and go for a week, and you just have to really, you just got to really eat a lot. You got to eat, you just got to eat and eat. You got to make sure you're getting enough carbs and enough protein and all that stuff. But then you'll lean out a little bit and you'll get a little bit quicker. And, I think you'd definitely be successful at it.
Well, I'm kind of on my way, I guess.
Skill, it seems like you probably have already. The most important skill is being able to stand up to the bullshit of society. not being afraid of being weird in order to do what's right. Some people manage to have that skill set at a surprisingly young age. I went vegan at the age of 40 after being a quite large meat eater, heavy meat eater. And I just did it basically out of a midlife crisis where I said, my life's halfway over, and what's the point of it if I'm just, moving along on inertia and doing what everybody in society does instead of making choices to make the world a better place and be a better person. And I wish I would have had that skill set when I was 20, because I was a philosophy major. I would have been able to understand the arguments for veganism at the age of 20. But, the most important overriding skill is being able to prioritize being kind and good over being normal. And
Ooh, that was good. Damn, dude.
I got another angle, another question that just came to my head. What about someone that say you're not buying your meat from the meat factories, you're living in the bush, you take a moose for the winter, you use every part of the moose, you pray when you get it, let's say, and you're giving thanks for that. How does that work? I'm just questioning.
That leans towards survival situation, but kind of not really, because you have the option to not be out there in the bush. But
I said earlier in this chat.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jeffrey. I said earlier in this chat when we're talking about Garland, a good person tries to advocate a way that the world could be, and be a better world for all of the sentient beings in it. Not a good person is not motivated only by like selfishly reducing their own direct impact. So when you talk about say like living on all the vegetables you grow yourself and then the one moose that you hunt and put in your freezer, that's obviously not scalable to the world, to the human population of the world. And so that sort of focus, even though like the ethical impact of such a large animal being killed fairly quickly is very small compared to what the impact people normally have on sentient beings, it's not scalable. So that's a strange, like narrow self-purity focus instead of trying to improve the world. The reason why, the kind of factory farming that exists for a reason, because it's the only way that the human population can afford animal products.
Subsidies and factory farms are the only way we're allowed to eat as much meat as we are.
So, right. So in terms of improving the world, the focus has got to be on getting people on plants, because plant agriculture, with modern science especially, adding nutrients to the plants, preserving the plants in all the various ways that we do, that can sustainably support the human population. And,
I would add to that as well. I was going to say, I would add to that, like, you got to look at it as in, what about if it was, we don't kill a moose, but we kill a human? Like, would it be acceptable to do that? Because ultimately, if you killed a human, you'd probably be doing better for the world. You'd still be able to eat the human, and the human causes more damage than the moose ever would to the environment around it. So you could see that as a more ethical choice, but we wouldn't, because we understand that the moose and the human both are sentient beings and both value their lives, and therefore we wouldn't take them. So even in that situation, we can find these kind of very unique situations, like we say, we could kill a blue whale, or we could kill this, or we could kill a human, and it's less in that respect. But for the individual, it's the same. For that individual moose that you might kill, it's a life taken, where you could have made a decision that doesn't, it's not a requirement for the death. When you pick up, you eat an apple, it's not required that an animal had to die for that apple. And I'd say that's a more ethical choice. And yeah, like Jeremy was saying, it's not a scalable thing. If everyone decided to do hunting, we would make every animal extinct within probably a few weeks on the planet. So it's not even a thing. But yeah, go for it. I think you want to chime back in there.
Yeah, I just it's funny. I like your perspective, Jeff. I can't see the names anymore, but yeah, Jeff, because it's funny. Chris, I apologize, Chris.
No worries.
But Jeremy, it's interesting because when you said your point, I was thinking, well, you're right. It's not scalable to the world, but what I've come to believe is I'm here for my growth and my bubble and I think I possibly maybe might be coming back again, and I'm trying to learn. And that's why, I was a fucking demon when I was younger, and I'm coming with love, is that this is what it's about, is being born, hopefully learning, growing, and coming again. So in terms of what I saw during, and I don't want to fuck Jeff up with saying the wrong words, but with what I witnessed through the 3 years of tyranny, 90% of the people are stuck on their job, their advancement, their mortgage payment, their, the kids holding their shoes, right? And so there ain't no advancing the human. It's about your personal bubble, having your family, loving nature. Like, that's what it's about. You're not going to change the whole. And so if I take that moose and I pray and all this stuff, maybe it's different, but you're right. It's not marketable up to the top. I thought of that, but then I heard Chris, with what you say, you talk good. Thank you.
I think it's important to. Sorry, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, ultimately, the moose doesn't care if you pray for it before you kill them.
Yeah, that part.
that's what I
completely agree with. I completely agree with that part. I was going to say, it's really useful to keep historical perspective. We are all beneficiaries of, with respect to slavery, the subjugation of women, the widespread, physical abuse of children in the past, oppression of lower social classes by aristocracies and so forth. We're all beneficiaries of brave people who were not content to remove themselves individually from evils, but sacrifice to oppose the evils. And that's what veganism is now. It's the vanguard for opposing and ending an evil. It can't be satisfied by prioritizing yourself and merely removing yourself, whatever you think that means, from direct personal impact and thinking that you're done. It has to be using the power that you have courageously to combating this immense evil. That I think we can very credibly make the case that it is the worst thing that has ever existed. Modern factory farming is worse than everything that has ever happened negatively to our own species in all of history.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not good enough to create some kind of self-conceived like moral bubble where you're not a part of it, and you think that's morally satisfactory.
Yeah, I guess in a way it's almost like working with the majority for the long-term goal, which will ultimately save more animals, rather than just thinking I'm going to do this and this satisfies me. You're working with the movement for the complete abolition of all animals, which is what's required. I guess that's kind of what you're saying, I guess, isn't it? Like, it's going back to that kind of what we're saying about it's not. You shouldn't just be vegan. You need to be active, and doing it. It goes back to that.
Yeah, you need to be effectively active, and that can vary from person to person based upon the skill sets that they have. But you should not be active for your own sense of virtue, like not just be kind of randomly active in order to make yourself feel a certain way, but you should apply your reason to determining what at the present time effective forms of activism for the end result for the animals are.
It's like doing a service in AA, Hardhat, it's giving back instead of just kind of being a dry drunk.
No, you're right. And that giving back, I think a lot of it was getting out of yourself, that you're actually, as you're getting sober and you're trying to stay sober and figure stuff out again and do things differently than you used to do. Sometimes it helped helping someone else, right? That you see the joy, you see the learning, you see the fucking desire that these people have, been to hell. Like I like to say, we've been to hell and we're coming out of it in a sense, right? Like we've seen the fucking depths of bullshit. And it helps. But I'm not disagreeing. But then sometimes I think you need to be in a proper, healthy headspace to help someone before you try to, I'm going to help someone, right? But then again, I guess it is just as long as you're together and you're holding tight and fucking keeping positive. But no, I hear you 100%.
I think the way I look at it as well, enacting violence upon another isn't going to put you in any better headspace. If you had to kill that animal, that's not going to make you feel good. Like obviously you do feel things spiritually and everything like that, and I don't think spiritually that is going to help you knowing that you've taken a life when you could have made another decision.
I'll tell you something I'm not proud of, and I'll fucking give you a little background you might understand with me.
Sure.
I grew up in the bush north of the 60th parallel, right? Like way up north, and I got a 22 as a birthday present when I'm not sure, when I was 14, right? And I'll just give you my experiences here with just in how my life is, and the creator has been with me from the get-go, is that I remember shooting a couple grouse, right? What we call grouse up north. But my mom was like, you have to eat them, right? Like you're eating them. And I cooked it and I didn't like it. And then I saw a fucking, and I'm ashamed to say this, and I'm going to say it, okay? But there was like a little bird, right? A little sparrow fucking in a tree branch 15 feet away while I was out looking for grouse and rabbits. And I fucking shot it, right? It was like right above me in a tree, and it just exploded into nothing, in the feathers. And I was like, it fucked me up, right? I did it. And I was young, and I was like, fuck, that didn't feel good in a sense, right? And then there's times, I don't know if you guys know about rabbits, but they go through seasons, 7-year cycles, right, of their breeding. And there's sometimes you can't find rabbits to eat. And then there's other times you're running them down in your fucking truck on the road because they're so plentiful. And I remember as like a 15-year-old that had a vehicle, I remember like hitting these rabbits, and so as you come a couple years later, as you're growing and learning and going through experiences, it's like, fuck, man, I was the devil. You know what I mean? Like, and before I got my camper here and stuff, when I split up with my ex, I was at this place living for the summer, and I was feeding this wild rabbit outside, right? That was living underneath the fucking back deck. And I'd bring it out fucking vegetables. I had this fantasy that I'd be able to pet it, but it never got where it wanted to get close enough, but it would sit like fucking 3 feet away and just sit there. Right. And so I don't know, like I've been a demon, yet I've come past that and stuff.
Well, I think in a way, as much as we all haven't done, I don't know what everyone's story is, but most of us probably haven't done anything like that. We've still been a part of doing that to animals in another way. We've been paying just for someone else to do it. So where you've been the person with the, with the gun, we're just paying someone else to do the dirty work for us, and we've all been there, and we all have that moment of being like, yeah, that's wrong. Like when you shot the little bird, you suddenly went, oh shit, that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. But it was no different to when you shot the grouse or anything like that. In reality, to those animals, their lives were identical. Eating them didn't make it any difference. So whether you shot the bird or the grouse or the rabbit or anything like that, they're all the same to them. They didn't care what happened to their body afterwards.
This is
I'm just kind of thinking too, like now that I realize who I'm talking to in a sense and who this group is, you probably think I'm a motherfucker. And I mean,
like, I don't like quoting Jordan Peterson because he's a douchebag now, but he used to say some good stuff.
He's a motherfucker. No.
Yeah. But he said one line once. It was learn to be a monster. No, be a monster and then learn how to control it. Like we were all little shits when we were kids, like we all went through a phase of being fucking psychos when we were kids. And the important thing is you've grown out of it. You just said you've grown out of it. You don't have to worry about anything you've done in the past.
No.
Like
that was your norm.
Long gone.
That was your norm was to go and kill the animal direct. Our norm was to pay someone else to do it for us. We've all got blood on our hands from it. None of us are, we're all innocent or anything. I paid for animals to get horrific things to do.
It just matters about what you do now and in the future.
Yeah, exactly. We can't help what we've done in the past. And, the fact that you want to actively make a change, I'm not going to judge you on things you've already done, which when I've done basically the same thing, just in another way.
No, you're our
I like to
favorite
talk about
right now. Trust me.
Sure. I like to talk about moral object permanence. You guys know what object permanence is?
No.
I'm a teacher.
I kind of know the phrase, but I can't think what it is.
I kind of studied developmental psychology. Your object permanence in babies is when they start realizing that when the ball rolls behind the sofa, that the ball is still there, right?
Okay, yeah, I know where you're going now, right?
You don't have to be sensing it to know that it's there, and so I sometimes I have this kind of a speech that I use in advocacy of moral object permanence. That a big part of what's going on as vegans is we're unable to conveniently be unaware that when there's
just compartmentalize and
there's
send
the box of wings with the like cartoon chicken on it and the happy bright colors, and it comes in a nice little plastic bag that
it's like thinking chocolate milk comes from a brown cow.
Yeah, there's the moral permanence there. That's death, and it's torture, it's mutilation, it's imprisonment, it's terror,
hell,
and it doesn't. It's hell. It's hell on earth, and that knowledge doesn't go away because we're not moral infants anymore who thinks that actually one version of this talk that I gave I called peekaboo, and I'm comparing it to being surprised that mommy's face disappears and reappears. And all this marketing and this packaging
that makes sense.
is fooling the not yet vegans into thinking that if you do this, all of the torture isn't there.
Yeah, no,
you got to develop moral object permanence, and then
isn't that kind of summed up with that? There's that image, isn't it, where someone's like hurting an animal, and they're like, oh, I don't like that, and then they slowly make it go further and further away, then put a wall there, and suddenly it's like, oh no, it's fine now. That's behind the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
The internet does a good job of that.
That's a vegan sidekick comic, I think. Is it okay if I stab this pig in the throat right here? And no, and then is it okay if I do it?
I got the vegan sidekick right here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Hey, okay, another question popped in my head. I was buying meat that said it was halal, right? Okay, and I want to get in the whole fucking Muslim bullshit, this and that. But so meaning they were they were killed better. So what's the deal on that? Thank you.
No, they're killed worse. They're killed better for consuming, but they're killed. They cut their throats when they're alive.
They consider it better. Down. Yeah, they consider it better because they say a little prayer and then slit their throat. They don't get stunned. They just bleed out. It's all horrific. Yeah.
Like I've posted that video. I've posted video of halal butcher on Facebook, and like meat eaters were all, holy shit! Like that's the gnarliest thing I've ever seen. You know, like people that are like carnivores that are like were like blown away by how gnarly the death is with halal, because they're alive. You know, like at least I guess in regular factory farms, it's just a bullet to the head. These guys get to bleed out for 2 minutes probably, and they're big animals. They got a lot of blood in them, so they stay alive a long time. It's really gross.
Well, I'll just say this: I can't watch videos like that, right? Like I have to turn them off. I've watched ISIS videos to the end, which is weird because it's humans and it's like, okay, but with animals, I can't even fucking do it. But I've seen some of these slaughterhouses with cows, and it's horrible. It really is horrible. They know what's going on. They know where they're going. You know what I mean?
Smell the blood, they hear the screams.
Yes. And when I've seen these cows where I've been getting my meat, and they literally all are on a mountain range for a couple years. But I mean, anyway, that's not. In the end, I'm sure they know, but it's fucked up.
It's just an excuse.
Yes, I'm sorry, it's fucked up.
Yeah, the thing is about this is one of the marketing things. The cows on the hills. It seems like they're really good and they're free. No, they're just slaves. They were bought. They were the date of their death was decided the day they were born. Those animals. And they're basically, put on the field, made to look nice, and then they're sent to the same slaughterhouse as every other cow. Absolutely zero difference.
And they're killed. They're killed as essentially children at
killed at 18 months old.
Natural or less. Yeah, depending on.
I
think dairy cows. They're usually killed something like a fifth of their natural lifespan, and
dairies
meat animals much less than that.
And dairy's a million times worse for the cows.
Plus, dairy cows aren't even real. Like, they're not natural. You don't see cows out there natural like that. So we don't even know how uncomfortable they are in general. Obviously, they're being pumped full of hormones that make them shockingly fat. So they may be leading a miserable life just being alive. So, who knows how happy those cows are out there. They're happier than the ones in concentration camps, but they're still
still having their children stolen away and being forced to be pregnant, and
they still live a traumatic life where their rights are violated constantly.
That's why I think harder.
Concepts beyond just pleasure and suffering are applicable to many non-human animals. I mean, maybe at a very simple level, like an ant. Well, only very basic concepts like pleasure and pain are applicable, but when you talk about like mammals and birds, concepts like betrayal, you made me think, even when you have these animals that are raised by kind of like homesteaders or something, feeling like they're part of a community, right? Feeling like these humans and these other animals are some kind of family together. and then one day they get fucking betrayed. They don't understand why they're getting crammed on this truck with all these other animals, and they go to a place where those humans, other animals that they've grown up knowing, are completely absent. It smells like what it is. It smells like terror and death. I don't really think you can make a case that that's worse than the animals that spend every moment in hell on earth. But there is still this concept that if you've had this positive experience and then it suddenly changes into terror, that it's
broader spectrum.
There's an element of the confusion and the betrayal that.
No, I want to throw out there. I agree on that. I don't want to sound gay or nothing, but I've seen videos of people that had cows and pigs and sheep and all these fucking pets, right? And I've seen the affection and the fucking shit these animals are over the lifetime are giving these humans. That what you just said, I understand that they would understand that what the fuck is going on here? You're about to you're sending me to slaughter, and anyway, I get that. Is all I'm trying to say is that I've seen the, I think the Bible says animals don't have a soul or whatever, or it's a different soul, but I mean it's all Abrahamic shit, so disregard it. But these animals have a mother, like this fucking dog. The dogs I've had in my life. Like, they're a part of the creation. They help us. We help them. They help us. Like, I don't know. I'm figuring shit out. But
I always say to anyone that is spiritual or religious about animals, I say if there was any evidence that there was a creator, it would be in his creations, in an animal and everything. And the fact that we treat the creator's creations in such horrific ways is just inexcusable. We will make more fuss burning a Bible or the American flag, inanimate objects, than we will cutting the head off what is meant to be, creation, which is just unreal. I don't understand the mentality. How people do that it just baffles me.
When I used to work at a ski hill in Canada. I was driving a groomer, which is the guy that makes the tracks for you to ski on the next day after the snow. Best job in the world. I met this ex-undercover cop, right, that got fired from the force, and he had this scheme. And so I was driving high-end fucking Volvos, Tahoes, Astrovan campers down to California. This is a long time ago, down to California, and fucking got down there, and fuck, here I am in my fucking story again. And what the fuck were you saying again?
Oh, I was just saying how people put more value on inanimate objects than they do what are meant to be, God's creations. They're more likely to, cause a fuss if you burn a Bible or burn the American flag than they are to cut an animal's head off. I don't know if that relates to your story again.
Maybe I should just keep listening, but no, it's not ringing the bell. But I mean, in that scenario, whatever it's all the same. It's I don't want to say it's the devil's creation, but all these money making schemes, right? Get rich quick, right? I was as an 18-year-old given money to go and buy brand new Volvo 850 turbos, right? These Astrovans, certain fucking camperized vehicles, Tahoes with certain specs. And what they did is, because at the time the Canadian dollar was so low, the guy that was doing this was in the States. The American dollar was so high. You'd buy these vehicles. I would drive them across, drive down to Newport Beach in California, party it up, and then fucking fly back, and then keep shuttling vehicles down. And then he would put these vehicles on ships, And then they had in Japan, they had what do you call those guys? That you go into ports.
Customs.
The cops.
Customs?
That
Oh yeah.
customs. I apologize. Customs. They'd have custom guys under their arm, and so off these vehicles that I was giving cash for $60,000 Volvo 850 turbos, they would make 120,000 American in China, right? And it was all let through, and that's how this whole right. And so I got into this where I was going down to California. I almost died. I was trying to surf, and I almost broke my neck, and I hit the sand. I got bashed down on a down wave, and I heard this and I was like, holy fuck. And it dawned on me, I could die down here. No one knows I'm down here. I'm doing crazy shit. But anyway, it was probably dealing with the devil, right? But it was a lot of fun. Not sure the point of that. Sorry.
Cool story, Hardhat.
Fun story there. I'm going to give myself another 20 minutes, and then I'm going to have to sleep because it's 3 a.m. now. But I'll round it up at 3:30 a.m. It's fine.
Yeah.
We can do another 20 minutes. I've come this far.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
I'm a lot more alert
you're
than I
under
was.
the hour. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a lot more alert than last time we did a 3 a.m. one with Garland. I was like flaking by the end.
Fried.
Yeah, but that was more intense. We're just kind of chatting a bit more casual here. With Garland, it was just like debate for like hours.
Yeah.
But,
I was gonna say that book that I put in the comments, like highly recommend checking that out because that gets into like spirituality. Manly P. Hall, he's like really deep into like esoteric spirituality. Some people, like I'm still learning about him. I know his teachings are really good, but some people kind of look at him like, oh, he had ties to Freemasonry and stuff, and they just like, they just write it all off. But there are a lot of really good teachings to be found in this stuff. But this particular story, I found, and he's basically talking about like, it's like an allegory of like a guy who becomes like the hermit. He goes out into the mountains to live because I think it's kind of like what's his name? Zarathustra.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, he like went out to go live in the mountains and he became a hermit, and like he'd been out there for like many years, and people always heard stories about the old man and everything, and it was just he was kind of an enigma. But then there's this like kid, he's like a teenager, and he's out like hunting out in the mountains, and I think it was like he just saw a deer that was just hanging out doing its own thing, and he'd been trying to work on his hunting skills, and so he's going to like draw back the bow, and he's about to let it go, and the old man like stops his arm, and like the kid's like taken aback by it and everything, but he kind of like teaches the kid throughout the course of the story that it's like, these are my mountains, like since I've lived here for so long, the animals, they actually, they'll take care of me because I've taken care of them. Like it might be a little like fantasy like, but he would say like, a squirrel would like jump on his shoulder and like put a nut in his mouth, like trying to feed him and everything. And it's just a really cool story. I just found it like about a week ago, and I'm about to go back through and read it because I didn't read the full thing. But yeah, it's a heart-touching story. It's really good.
I've just found the PDF for it. Actually, I'm going to check that out. Actually, I'll link it in here if anyone wants it. It's on archive.
Okay. Yeah, I think I posted that too, but I don't know if I went through. But yeah.
Do you guys think that some animals can smell the difference between a flesh-eating and a plant-eating human?
I don't know. You sometimes think that, do you? Like they know I'm vegan, like because they really.
Yeah, we
I
always
hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting powers of smell that we can't intuitively relate to.
Yeah.
At least where I'm at right now, definitely. I'll just speak with dogs because that's my best experience. They definitely can smell a good human. When you watch a dog, watch their eyes when they come up to you and smell you, right? They know, right? Whatever the fuck they're smelling, they can kind of know a good guy or a bad guy. Now, whether that translates into a meat eater or not, I'm not sure, but dogs are pretty cool. Like they will tell you before you kind of with your senses, you will kind of pick up, right? And that's why you're like, okay, but
well, they're masters at reading your facial expressions and shit. Like they can see what you're thinking by your facial expressions better than we can of them. But yeah, what's up, Devin? You just get off work?
I'm just eating some vegan slop right now.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's awesome.
It's a good timing not
You
to
have any advice for Hardhat, Devin? Hardhat's on the fence of going vegan. He's very, very close.
Eat your fucking vegetables, dude. You know, when I first went vegan, what was hard is getting full, like, and staying full for a really long time. Like how you are, like, when you eat before you go vegan. Because all the food is, like, lower in calories. For the most part, I mean, you just have to like slowly acclimate your body to it because your gut biome will change over time to work with what you're feeding. And then I don't know, I don't like the foo-foo thing about like, oh, listen to your body, but you kind of like you'll feel like, oh, my body's like processing this better. I feel like more full for longer. It takes months or even years to get there. But yeah, just stick to it. I mean, just stick to your principles. Like the main thing is to do the right thing. That's why we all do it, That's why we all stay vegan. I think we see a lot of vegans online, they bail out because they weren't doing it for the right reasons. They were doing it for clout, or they were doing dietary, this and that. It's not the right way to go about it.
And being good, living your life to do good, to, like I said before, being on the positive side of the scale, right? Or like Scrooge has to learn in A Christmas Carol, being engaged with others. It's like a muscle. It is like working out. The more you live your life with moral concerns in focus, the stronger you get at it. Yeah. The more natural it is.
Yeah, it's awkward at first.
Yeah, something that actually is worth mentioning, just in case, because we haven't really brought it up, is just to know that as well, veganism extends just beyond just your diet as well.
Yeah.
It's a philosophy of non-animal exploitation across everything that we do. So even kind of looking at kind of what clothing you're wearing. Are you wearing animal skins? What are you using? Products tested on animals? Are you supporting things that could harm animals? And it's just working towards eliminating animal exploitation across everything in all respects. Diet's obviously the big one that most people kind of struggle with because it's the biggest initial change, but it's also just looking beyond that, and it's and thinking about it in a way that it's not that you can't do things, it's that you no longer want to, and that makes it easier, especially with food. It's not like it's not like you can't eat meat. I mean, you physically can if you want to, but you're choosing not to because why that's not a good thing to do. And that's the best way of thinking about it, I think, is never think about it as a diet. Think about it as a philosophy and a social justice movement, ultimately, of you want to do something good for animals, and a part of that is to not consume them, and to not wear them and not exploit them, kind of thing. And I always find that is what makes people stick with it when you think about it, when it doesn't become a diet anymore. Because people always say to me that, oh, what, you can't eat this? And I'm like, no, I can eat that. I choose not to. Yeah, I won't do that because I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the word diet is derived from the word, I think it's Greek. There might be a Latin version too, but dieta, which means like way of life. So it's not just, it's like not just what you're eating, but it's like that's a part of it, but it's, you know, your actions in general too.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into that.
Beyond your meal.
Yeah. Everything you do is activism, basically.
Yeah.
It's more of a boycott.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
That's a better way to think about it. Yeah.
Mm.
Like we will not consume these things.
While we're here, we have inevitable impact. We have the power to impact others. And it's not even a power that we can choose not to have. You will impact others. And what you can choose is to have more and more positive impacts. And as in A Christmas Carol, one of the greatest stories ever told, if you don't have the positive impact while you're here, then you will metaphorically be bearing the chains of all those failed opportunities for eternity as a spirit who desperately wishes that you could interact positively with the world, but no longer has the power. And that's the best depiction of hell that I've ever encountered. The chains of Jacob Marley and the way he describes, goodness to Scrooge is all this time, every year, every day that you're hiding away from the good that you could do because you're too scared. You're forging your chain link by link and yard by yard. It's not good enough to be neutral. We've been granted this amazing power. We've got to use it for good.
Jeffrey, you need to make a load of good YouTube reels out of all this.
Whoa. Hold on, what?
So you've got to make some good YouTube reels out of these podcasts.
Yeah.
There's so many good quotes that are coming.
This has like been my favorite one by sure. This is like,
there's some really good quotes that you could just make some like 30-second clips and stuff, like the analogy, like from Christmas Carol and stuff like that. I think they're really cool because they're just really simple and easy to understand. Oh, race leaders, race, what's going on?
When I first met Jeremy, I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's got a bunch of good one-liners." What were you just trying to say, Devin?
Oh, I was just asking him if he has content posted on like the philosophy of the Christmas story.
He's got a couple.
Me?
Yeah.
I did a talk with Carson, and we got distracted onto other topics for a good chunk of it. That was okay, but then I did a second talk on A Christmas Carol with Jerome. That I was really proud of.
That one's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen there's a video out there. It's like everything you need to know about life is in The Wizard of Oz. Like there's a lot of messages in there about like how to conduct yourself and how the world works and stuff.
Yeah, I'm writing a vegan Christmas Carol, and maybe something like 20% through it. I'm writing really disconnected scenes, but it's coming fairly naturally. There actually is, and I don't just mean a version that removes all of the animal products, because that actually exists. There's this guy, I could maybe link he did like a local radio interview. He's in Massachusetts somewhere, a Quaker, I think, and so he veganizes classic literature, just removing all of the references to animal products. So he's done that, but no, what I'm writing is basically a version where Scrooge starts out as an anti-vegan troll,
Garland Farms.
And
Yeah.
You gotta use Garland.
yeah, it's very, very much has some humorous references to things that culturally come up in veganism, but keeps the serious message of confronting the aspects of your past that made you closed off to doing good in the world, and then seeing in the present all the suffering around you, and all of the opportunity that exists for you to do, and then moving into what your future will be if you don't depart from your current path. Yeah, hopefully I'll probably get it done in a couple of months, I think, and then I'll see who I can send it to.
That
And
sounds awesome.
hopefully somebody who has resources and filmmaking skills will have some interest in it, which is not me. I know how to write, and I know that story like the back of my hand. I've been fairly obsessed with it for longer than I've been vegan, for probably something like 12 years.
If you write it, I'll pay for us to get an animator from Fiverr, and we'll have them make like an animated story along with it. It'll be dope.
Yeah.
But on that note, I'm gonna let Chris go.
Well, I got 5 minutes. So
Oh, you got 5 minutes? Okay, never mind.
I don't know if you want to talk about anything specific for 5 minutes. I don't know. Utilize me for 5 minutes. Or
Why
I can
don't
just
you
leave.
tell everyone about your movie,
I kind of. What do you want to know?
your documentary? What's it about exactly? These guys don't know about it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm making a film called Taking Note. It's about the history of animal rights and music. It was music that basically got me into animal rights initially. The band Goldfinger with their song "Free Me," and basically been making it for 7 years. And
Sorry, what's that title? Fool Me?
No, "Free Me" was the name of the song.
Free Me.
Yeah, it was
Free Me.
Yeah, it was on this album here, "Open Your Eyes" by Goldfinger. It was the bonus track on here. So that basically exposed me to animal rights, and then I instantly went vegetarian at that point, and obviously become vegan later down the line, became an activist. So it completely changed my life. But it kind of got me interested in the kind of idea that protest music's always been a kind of a tool for social justice, in a way of pushing forward things. And obviously musicians are very influential, and I was kind of interested in how much music has influenced animal rights as a justice issue. Because if you look at the kind of history of protest music, it's quite well documented, but the animal rights aspect of it is not documented in the slightest. So I've managed to trace it back, officially as far back as the 1700s, maybe even before that. But I've basically managed to document the entire story of how music and animal rights have worked together to push forward the cause, to answer the question, would animal rights be where it is today if it wasn't for the influence of music? And I think you could probably make a very strong argument that animal rights would not be where it is today, if it wasn't for music, especially the influence of the punk and hardcore scene in the kind of 80s and 90s, especially bands like Crass, Conflict, Flags Pink Indians, Earth Crisis, Vegan Reich, all that kind of stuff. But it covers every single genre you can think of, everything from classical music, folk music, even country music. There's a really good story about K.D. Lang doing a campaign with PETA and basically getting annoying the entire kind of cattle country community, and all the country music radio stations were banning her music because she did this Meat Stinks campaign with PETA and stuff. I don't really want to give too much away because there's this way too much, and I kind of want to. I've been kind of keeping things a secret for like 7 years, but we've interviewed like 150 musicians in total across all genres, everyone from like Moby is involved in this. Earth Crisis, Tony from No Doubt, H2O, Doyle from the Misfits, pretty much any kind of vegan celebrity you can think of. I'm still trying to squeeze Jeff in there somewhere. As soon as I find a slot for him, I'm going to get him to do like a little quote. So
I play ocarinas.
Nice.
Give me one line.
I've done some busking in my life with a guitarist.
Nice. I mean, I think if you want to see like a little idea of like just how much music is intertwined, I can give you some. I've literally got my animal rights music collection in here, and I can just grab a handful and kind of give you an idea. So Howard Jones in the 80s, he did a song called Assault and Battery, which was about factory farming. In his fan club kind of literature, he always had like vegetarian recipes and stuff back in the day, and spoke up a lot about things. Used to do a lot with Peter and stuff. We've got, what's this one? Carcass. Some good death metal. This song's actually got all the names of the songs. A lot of them are about the different items that are used to like cut up flesh or kill animals. They've got like captive bolt pistol is one of the songs in there, which talks about the history of the captive bolt pistol. It's like the Master's Apron. It's got surgical grade steel. They got loads of good stuff on there. This is a anti-vivisection vinyl from the 90s, I believe. It's got like PJ Harvey's on there, EMF, some other random stuff. A band called Nature Core that were around, kind of that have been in the 90s. They were kind of in the same kind of scene as like Vegan Reich and stuff like that. They've got someone hunting a deer there, and then they've got a deer on the back who hunted a human and attached him to the car, which is pretty badass. Then you've got Animal Liberation album. This was Peter's first album they released. It's got like Howard Jones, Morrissey, Captain Sensible from The Damned and stuff. This was like the first ever thing that Peter did music-wise. It was with Al Jorgensen from Ministry. This is the ALF. This was Conflicts compilation that they released at the end of the 80s. Got Exit Stance on there. The Apostles, Icons of Filth and stuff, which is really cool. Country Joe McDonald. He did a lot of songs about animals. This one's got Blood on the Ice.
I met him once.
Yeah, Blood on the Ice is about.
I met Country Joe.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's on the film. He's such a great guy.
I just met him in San Francisco randomly.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Quite a while before I was vegan, but
he's such a dude.
And I recognized him.
Yeah, so Blood on the Ice is basically against the seal hunting. Then you got like Whale Song. Obviously, Whale Song actually is what inspired Greenpeace to go out and start the whales. Start fighting against it. Nick Kershaw also did a Save the Whale song. Rainbow Warriors, Greenpeace. That's obviously anti-whaling. Then we've got these, which is really interesting. These are the ALF actually had a record label, which most people don't know about, called Artists for Animals. And this was one of their releases, Liberator. It's got Madness. I've got an anti-vivisection track on here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is really cool. And a lot of people don't realize
that would be like a bunch of like crust punk or something.
Yeah, no, this is actually really mixed. It's got kind of like the Style Council, which is Paul Weller from The Jam. His other thing, they've got an anti-hunting song on there. Got Captain Sensible, Chumbawamba. And then this is another one of theirs as well. Which is this has got a lot of different ones on, but I mean that is literally just a small handful of what I've got in total. That is nothing.
Have you heard of Street Justice?
Street Justice, are they a hardcore?
They're a new vegan hardcore band.
I think I follow them on Instagram.
They're really good. The lyrics are like top notch.
I'll tell you a band I really like at the moment for animal rights, which is I've got the vinyl. These, they're called To the Grave. They're an Australian deathcore band, and pretty much majority of their songs are about animal rights. And they've got this one particular song called Found Footage. If anyone's ever been on an undercover investigation, I don't know if anyone ever has. No one speaks about this, but you will very much relate to it. It very much explains the feelings that you have, like on that kind of build up to like planning the raid and going out and everything. It's you can tell the guys have done that stuff. But yeah, I absolutely love these guys at the moment.
What are they called again?
To the Grave.
To the Grave. Sick.
Yeah, and look up the found footage thing. Or what's the other good songs? Slaughter Forever, Holocaust Australia. That's a really good one. Where they're calling out the entire of Australia for their use of
Holy
animals.
shit.
Yeah, I love that one.
Street Justice is pretty dope. We were reading some of their lyrics the other day. We were like, holy shit. Like these
I'm pretty sure I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah. Are they from Australia? Yeah, no, I don't know, but there's some good new throwback bands. But anyway, it's 7:33.
Or
Chris has to
3:33.
get some sleep. Yeah. Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a
Holy
great
crap.
show.
Yeah, I really
Thanks,
enjoyed
everyone.
chatting
That
to
was
you.
a
It's
really
great
good
to meet
show.
everyone. Hopefully we'll
Yeah,
Thank you.
and
Meet you,
whenever you can make it back, we're gonna do it every Friday, and just keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you start it at 1 o'clock, it's a bit of an issue. But I'll do my best for it.
Yeah.
It sucks. We were trying to get another guy from the UK on too, and he's just like,
Yeah, if you mix it up and do some early ones sometimes, obviously I'll always do my best where I can.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got to
It's
work
gonna be hard
on.
for me when I'm back in Korea too.
Yeah.
What's
I'll
the
be
time
back in
difference there?
Korea for too long.
What's the time difference there?
Korea is +9
It's
from
like 7 hours
Greenwich
or
Mean
something.
Time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be a little tricky.
I've only just read Race's comment. I completely blanked that for a second. Thanks, Race.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
We'll do. Can we leave on a propaganda quote? Life's too short to make others shorter. Propaganda quote.
Hey.
Later, dudes.
Beautiful.
Catch you all soon.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye, everyone. Right, I'm going to bed.